Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure everyone has heard by now about the tragedy that happened at the Fort Lauderdale airport. Everyone knows the details. We have 5 that are deceased. We have another 8 or so that are wounded. These details are still emerging. But there are some interesting details that are now starting to come out about what happened or the shooter that are very interesting, and I haven't seen anything on the mainstream news about it, nor do I expect to. For example, it was claimed that the shooter had a carry-on gun, a pistol, in his luggage that he checked and that he pulled out at the baggage claim, which is where he then loaded it, apparently emptied 3 magazines while he was there, somehow magically had the time to do that. Don't think he could have done that in a non-gun-free zone, if you understand what I'm saying there. But nonetheless, that's the story, and he was able to shoot and wound others. There were stories of maybe a second shooting or a noise in a garage. Nothing was confirmed there. But let's focus on the shooter that has now been identified. They're saying that he has been in the National Guard. He had a military ID. Air Canada is claiming that they had no record of him on the flight. They had no record of a gun checked in. And people are now starting to surface that he claimed that he was fighting for ISIS and actually approached the FBI with this claim. We've got pictures of him in Middle Eastern garb, apparently doing ISIS or Al-Qaeda salute signs. And this is all sort of developing. Again, these are kind of mundane details that people are just starting to kind of dig up and investigate into. But again, I'm not seeing any of this on the mainstream news. So what's going to happen? If it turns out that the gunman, the shooter at Fort Lauderdale's airport, was inspired by ISIS or did have some sort of brainwashing, radical Islam mentality that led him to do that, what are we going to see? The exact same thing that we saw as soon as this event was breaking. Guns are the problem, folks. I'm so sick of having this argument, and I've been someone who was on the other side of this, but the logic is simply not there. If I'm at an airport, let's take the story at face value. If I'm at the airport, now the airport is a gun-free zone, right? I'm not allowed to be armed. That's unconstitutional. But nonetheless, I'm at the airport, I see a madman pull out a gun out of his baggage, load it, and start firing. What am I going to do in this situation? Well, since I'm in a gun-free zone, I can't do anything. I have to run away. I have to be a sheep. I have to call somebody with a gun to come protect me. Now, if I was in a Constitution zone, if I was in America, I would have the right to have my own arm. Oh, crazed gunman, boom, situation solved. I just saved people's lives. But that's not what we have here. But it could be a more reaching problem. Is this another ISIS-related event? Again, we don't know. The details on the alleged shooter, Esteban, are still emerging. You can see the photos that are emerging on Twitter. You can see the claims that are emerging on Twitter. We do know some of the details, but this is something that you are going to want to keep your own eye on, do your own research, your own investigation if you want to know the truth, because I promise you the CNNs and the mainstream news on television is not going to tell you the truth about this, and the liberal media and Barack Obama are going to use this event to try to tell you you need to turn your gun in for your own safety. This is Owen Schroyer for Infowars.com. I'm not buying it. You're not infringing on my Second Amendment.